Hello students, yesterday we have learned the gametogenesis and last I told you about the oogenesis. Now let us see the structure of the ovum. Structure of the ovum, human ovum especially, it is spherical in shape and it is surrounded by the plasma membrane. Ovum is surrounded by the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane of the ovum is also called as oolemma. And inside the oolemma, you'll see the cytoplasm which is deposited by the yolk. During growth period, it will get deposited already. You have learned. So the cytoplasm is called as ooplasm. And then in the cytoplasm, you'll see the nucleus. Nucleus is not present in the center. It is present towards one side. That is called eccentric. So the nucleus is vesicular. It is called germinal vesicle. It is the nucleus is also called as germinal vesicle, which contain the maternal chromosomes. And outside the oolemma, you'll see a clear zone which is called as zona pellucida. This zone, after the zona pellucida is surrounded by a layer of cells which is called corona radiata, which is formed from the follicular cells. So this is the structure of the ovum. So structure of the human ovum is for 3 marks, and let me repeat once again. The ova is surrounded by the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane of the ovum is also called oolemma. It encloses the cytoplasm. And cytoplasm is also called as ooplasm. And in this ooplasm, mainly you will see the organelles like mitochondria you'll see, endoplasmic reticulum you'll see, endoplasmic reticulum, you will see ribosomes, you will see, and Golgi complex, a prominent Golgi complex you will see. So these are the organelles which you will see in the ooplasm. And here nucleus is not present in the center. The nucleus is not spherical. It will take a vesicular shape. That is why it is also called as germinal vesicle. It is also called as germinal vesicle. So it contains the maternal chromosomes. It is haploid, that already you know. Outside the nucleus, you will see a clear zone, area which is translucent. It is translucent, and that area is called as zona pellucida. And outside the zona pellucida, you will see corona radiata, a layer of follicular cells. It is formed from the follicular cell. So this is about the structure of the human ovum. And you know that during the ovulation, ova is at secondary oocyte. Oocyte is not formed. The second meiotic division did not take place. So that is about the human ovum. Now the eggs of the animals are classified based on the deposition of the yolk. Yesterday just I told you the names. Now let us see the classification, or you can say the types of egg, or you can say ovum. So ova is classified based on the distribution and the deposition of the yolk. Now let me first go to the based on distribution of yolk. Based on the distribution of the yolk, eggs are classified into 3 types. That is isolecithal, or it is also called as homolecithal. So here yolk is equally distributed in the cytoplasm. That is equal distribution of yolk in the cytoplasm. in the cytoplasm. Such eggs are called isolecithal or homo. Homo means equally. So yolk is distributed equally in the cytoplasm. Here we can give the example of human egg, human ova. It is the first. Second type, telolecithal. Telolecithal. Telo, that is presence of yolk towards one pole, one side of the egg. Like suppose that if it is the, let me draw it properly. If it is the egg, the yolk will get deposited on one side, which you will see in the birds, especially hen egg. When you boil it and see, you will see the yolk towards one side. So such ovum, such egg are called as telolecithal. That is, yolk is present. Yolk is present on one side of the ovum. Example, here we can give the example of bird's egg. So where yolk is present, that pole is called as vegetal pole, and opposite to that is called the animal pole. Now third type is the centrolecithal. Centrolecithal. Here yolk is present in the center of the egg. So yolk is present in the center of the egg. And here we can give the example of insects. So now we have done the classification of the egg based on the distribution of the yolk. So here we can see three types: isolecithal, telolecithal, centrolecithal. Isolecithal is also called as homolecithal, and here yolk is equally distributed in the cytoplasm. So we can give the human ova as an example. Telolecithal, yolk is present on one side of the ovum, which pole is called as vegetal pole, and such type of eggs we will see in the birds. Centrolecithal, yolk is present in the center of the egg, and such eggs we will see in the insects. Now just copy down the human ovum. You have to practice the diagram of the human ovum. Now let us see the classification of the ova based on the amount of yolk. That is based on the amount of yolk. Based on the amount of yolk, egg is classified into three types. That is macrolecithal, macro, or it is also called as meghalecithal. So meghalecithal, so here large amount of yolk is present. Large amount of, or sufficient amount of, let me write. Sufficient amount of yolk is present. So we can give the example of birds and reptiles. Birds and reptiles we can give, and the second type is the microlecithal. A presence of little amount of yolk. Presence of little amount of yolk. Little amount of yolk. Amount of yolk is called microlecithal. We can give the example of human ovum. Human ova or egg you can write. And third one is the mesolecithal. Mesolecithal. Moderate amount of yolk is present. Moderate amount of yolk is present. Moderate amount of yolk. We can give the example of frog ova or frog egg. Now classification of the ova or egg based on the amount of yolk. The first one is called macro or mega. It is also called as polylecithal. It is also called as polylecithal. That means sufficient amount of yolk is present, which is necessary for the development of the embryo. So such type of eggs you will see in the birds and reptiles. You know that birds and reptiles are oviparous. They lay egg and then from the egg the young one will get hatched out. So the egg one is nourished inside the egg itself. So till that time the food is sufficient. So such a egg are called as polylecithal or macrolecithal eggs. And microlecithal, micro the name itself indicates a little amount of yolk is present in the egg. And such ovum you will see in the human beings. So here for the development of the embryo sufficient amount of yolk is not present. Apart from the yolk which is present in the egg, the mother body supports the development of the baby. And here in the human beings, through the placenta, food is supplied to the baby. So such eggs are called as microlecithal. And the third type is the mesolecithal. That is presence of a moderate amount of yolk is called mesolecithal. Example is frog egg. Here moderate amount of yolk is present. It will support the growth of the embryo but not to the larger extent. That is why in such cases the larva will get hatched out. You have seen the life cycle of frog, and in the frog you will see the larval stage. Larval stage, then it will grow into young one, adult one. I mean it will larva, it will not resemble the adult. Fine. To become adult, to resemble the adult, the larva has to feed and grow on its own. So such type of eggs are called as mesolecithal eggs. So where the yolk is not sufficient for complete growth of the embryo, so the embryo which is born is intermediate between the adult and the baby. I mean adult and the embryo. Then in between stage is called larva, which is morphologically different from the parent. We can't identify, we can't immediately recognize that it is the baby of so and so animal. That is about the frog egg. Now one more term you have to be familiar with, that is the cladoic egg. Cladoic egg. So cladoic egg, so these are self-sufficient eggs. Self-sufficient egg. So they are covered by calcareous shell. They are covered by calcareous shell and which have got pores for the respiration. And usually such eggs we will see in the reptiles and the birds. Reptiles and birds. So cladoic egg is a type of egg which is bigger in size and has a large amount of yolk and is covered by a calcareous shell for the protection, and they are usually oviparous. The mother will lay the fertilized egg, and after incubation the babies the babies are hatched out from the egg. So this is about the cladoic egg. And now you have studied already the human ovum, and ova is released during ovulation. That you have studied, and ovulation will take place at puberty. And next what we are going to study is at the puberty what changes will occur in the female body. So when do you say that the body is ready for the reproduction? So we will say that the human female is ready for the reproduction when a commencement of menstrual cycle will take place. So that we will see in detail now. Now let us see the menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle or ovarian cycle. So it is a cyclical change which is seen in the females. It is a cyclical, or you can say cyclical rhythmic changes which are seen in the females, and these are seen mainly in the humans and the apes. The examples are humans and apes. So the menstrual cycle will begin at the puberty. It begins at the puberty. Puberty, you already know that a stage where the reproductive organs will get matured. And the first menstrual cycle at the puberty is called as menarche. The first menstrual cycle at the puberty is called menarche, and this cycle will bring about the changes in the female reproductive system. It brings changes. It brings changes in the female reproductive system. In the female reproductive system. Under the hormonal influence. So it brings about changes in the female reproductive system. It will prepare the body for the fertilization and pregnancy. The commencement of menstrual cycle at the puberty is called menarche, or first menstrual cycle in the human female at puberty is called menarche, and when the girl child will begin with the menarche, then one must understand that the body is ready for the pregnancy. So during this time, the female body will become ready for the fertilization and pregnancy. So it prepare the body. It prepare the body for fertilization and pregnancy. And after certain years in the female, the menstrual cycle will stop. That is nearly from 45 to 55 or 54 year, the menstrual cycle will stop. That is called menopause. That is stop or cessation, you can say. Cessation or stopping of menstrual cycle nearly at the age of 45 to 54 or 55 years is called menopause. Menopause suddenly will not occur. In some it may occur suddenly, in some it may occur gradually. And during this, sometimes some characters are seen during the menopause. Some people may suffer with the heavy bleeding, hot flashes, mood swings, etc. So you will see the heavy bleeding. Let me write some changes. What you see is like mood swing, hot flashes, etc. Hot flashes, the temperature of the body will increase, and which is seen in the face. So that is about the menopause. And during the menopause will occur because you know that the follicles in the female is limited. The follicles are limited. Nearly 400 to 450 menstrual cycles will occur. So 400 to 450 ova are released in the lifetime of the female. So after that, the follicles are not there in the ovary for the secretion of the female sex hormone. That is estrogen and progesterone levels will come down. That is because of the absence of follicles in the ovary. Follicles in the ovary. In the ovary, there is a reduction. In this female sex hormone. In the female sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. So menopause is because of the absence of follicle which will secrete the estrogen and progesterone. Now that little amount of testosterone is also secreted by the female body. In the absence of estrogen and progesterone, in some of the female, the testosterone will start functioning. Testosterone. You know that testosterone is secreted in large amount in the males and it is responsible for the male characters. So in the female, after the commencement of the menopause, because of the presence of testosterone in some female, not in all females, the body start showing some of the characters like the development of hairs on the body, development of hair on the face especially. So appearance, let me write. Appearance of hair on the face in few, fine. And some people may suffer with the loss of hair, loss of hair. So in the females, complete baldness is not seen, but as age advances, so the hair loss will begin. So that is about the menopause. So now just I told you some features about the menstrual cycle. The important feature of the menstrual cycle is the menstruation. A very important feature of the menstrual cycle is the menstruation. Menstruation is very important feature. Menstruation is important feature. Important feature of menstrual cycle. So this is about the menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle is also called as ovarian cycle. Menstrual cycle, menses, it means month. So for every month this cycle will occur, and the important feature of menstrual cycle is the menstruation. Menstruation is nothing but bleeding period. It is a bleeding which is important feature of the menstrual cycle. And this menstrual cycle is it will begin at the puberty, and the beginning of the first menstrual cycle in the human female is called as menarche, and it prepared the body for the fertilization and pregnancy. And mainly the changes will occur in the female reproductive system. The changes will occur in the female reproductive system under the hormonal influence which are secreted by the hypothalamus and pituitary, which we will see in later. And here the after certain years like 45 to 54 years, so the menstrual cycle will get stopped because of the absence of the follicles in the ovary. The stopping or the cessation of the menstrual cycle is called as menopause, and this menopause will occur suddenly in some females, and in some it may take place gradually, showing some features. So that after menopause, some of the characters are seen in some of the females, not in all, like loss of hair, growth of facial hairs, and usually hot flashes are seen, and the mood swing is seen in the female. So this is about the menstrual cycle. Now let us see the stages of the menstrual cycle. A normal menstrual cycle usually will take place, it take place during 28 days. Let us see the phases of menstrual cycle now. Now let us see the phases of the menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle, the length of the menstrual cycle is of 28 days in a normal, usually. So length of cycle is 28 days, normal cycle. Plus or minus 2-3 days is also okay. It varies from female to female. So normally it takes 28 days for the cycle. So we will study according to the 28 days. So menstrual cycle we will study under 4 stages. It is continuous, but for our convenience we have divided the menstrual cycle under 4 phases. The first phase is the menstruation. The first phase is the menstruation, which is also called as destructive phase. So this phase lasts from 1 to 5 days. So the important feature of the menstrual cycle is the discharge of the blood. So it includes the bleeding. So it contains the mucus, cellular debris and the blood. So that is about the menstrual cycle, and it lasts for 1 to 5 days. It is also called as destructive phase. And the second phase is called as proliferative phase, or it is also called as follicular phase, or it is also called as pre-ovulatory phase. So the second phase is called as proliferative or follicular phase, or it is also called pre-ovulatory phase. See, when once the menstruation will stop. So during the menstruation, the endometrium which is formed throughout this cycle for the implantation of the baby embryo, so that endometrium will get degenerated and it will get destroyed and it is discharged through the vagina. Fine. Afterwards, once again the primary follicle, the follicles which are present in the ovary will start developing under the influence of, that is, follicles will begin developing. Follicle development is seen under the influence of the pituitary hormones, that is FSH and LH. So here the FSH level will be slowly increasing. So the follicles will be developing from the primary follicle to the Graafian follicle. So here you will see the follicles from the primary to the Graafian follicle. Graafian follicles will develop under the influence of FSH. That is why this phase is also called as follicular phase. As the follicles will be growing like primary, secondary, tertiary, Graafian. So it is also called as proliferative, and this phase is prior to the ovulation. It is the period which occurs before ovulation. That is why it is also called as pre-ovulatory phase. So usually in the class we will I'll ask children to remember pre-ovulatory phase. So here the follicles will develop from the primary to the Graafian follicle under the influence of FSH and LH. So this FSH will stimulate the oogenesis in the follicles. The ova will start developing in the follicles under the influence of FSH, and that is called proliferative phase. Now third phase is the ovulatory phase. This phase lasts from 6th to 13th day of the menstrual cycle. So 7 days, nearly 7 days. And the third one is the ovulatory phase. So ovulatory phase, here the Graafian, that is maturation of the ovarian follicle will take place. That is, Graafian follicle is completely formed, matured. So Graafian follicle mature under the influence of FSH. And here the increase of FSH will stimulate. Increase of FSH will increase the estrogen level also. That increased estrogen level in the mid-cycle will stimulate the release of LH, and that LH will reach the peak. LH increases and reach the peak. Increases the peak. And this is called LH surge. LH surge. And under the increased level of LH, the Graafian follicle will get ruptured and ova will get released. So that is why this phase is called ovulatory phase. That is, Graafian follicle will rupture. Graafian follicle rupture and release ova. So this is called ovulation. So this will take place In the mid-cycle, that is 14th day of the cycle. That is about the ovulatory phase. And the fourth one is called secretory phase. Secretory phase, or it is also called as post-ovulatory phase, or it is also called as luteal phase. Luteal phase. The fourth phase is called secretory phase or post-ovulatory phase, or it is also called as luteal phase. So here what will happen? The Graafian follicle, which is ruptured afterwards, it will release the ova, and the remaining cells will remain there itself. Only ova will come out from the Graafian follicle. The remaining cells of the Graafian follicle will get converted into a temporary endocrine gland, which is called as corpus luteum. That is Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle will get transformed. Into corpus luteum. So the remaining cells of the Graafian follicle will get transported into corpus luteum, and you know that the corpus luteum is a temporary endocrine gland, and it will secrete progesterone. It will secrete progesterone, which is necessary for the maintenance of the endometrium and for the support of the pregnancy. It will help. For what it will help? Help in maintenance. Help in the maintenance or maintaining endometrium and pregnancy. Well, that is why this phase is called as secretory phase. It is called secretory phase because the corpus luteum will secrete the progesterone, a hormone which is called pregnancy maintaining hormone. It is called post-ovulatory phase as it is formed after the ovulation. It is called luteal phase as here the corpus luteum is formed from the Graafian follicle. Let me repeat the menstrual cycle. In short, it is a 5-mark question, 3 to 5 mark question in the annual exam. Now, menstrual cycle is also called as ovarian cycle, and it will take place especially in the primates. Example, I already gave you human beings and the apes. The time period or the length of this cycle is 28 days, and plus or minus 2 or 3 days will occur in the humans depending upon the body nature. You can say sometimes due to the stress, sometimes maybe due to the physical health. Many reasons are there for that. Here we are studying the normal cycle of 28 days. So the menstrual cycle will begin with the bleeding, menstruation, which is a very important feature of the menstrual cycle. So it lasts for 1 to 5 days. So here the discharge of the endometrium will occur, which contains the mucus and the cellular debris and the blood. Etc. So after this menstrual cycle, endometrium is totally lost from the uterus. So once again the endometrium will start building up. So under the influence of the pituitary hormones. So that phase is called follicular phase, as here the follicles once again will start their cycle of growth. That is the primary follicle, secondary follicle, tertiary follicle and Graafian follicle. And all these follicular state are supported by the pituitary hormone, which is called as follicle stimulating hormone. So once the Graafian follicle will reach, you know that these follicles, these growing follicles will secrete the female sex hormone estrogen. When the estrogen level will start increasing in the blood, that will trigger the anterior pituitary gland for the secretion of the LH. So when the LH will increase in the blood and it reaches the peak, and the peak level of LH is called LH surge. And during this period, the Graafian follicle will get ruptured and it releases the ova. So that phase is called ovulatory phase, and which will take place on the 14th day of the cycle. and after the release of the ova, the remaining cells of the Graafian follicle under the influence of LH will get converted into a temporary endocrine gland which is called corpus luteum. And this corpus luteum will secrete a hormone called progesterone, and this hormone is necessary for the maintenance of endometrium and pregnancy, and this phase lasts from 15th day to the 28th day. Suppose if the ova which is released from the Graafian follicle will get fertilized in the fallopian tube, and if it gets success in implantation, then it results in the pregnancy. So during the pregnancy, the menstrual cycle will not occur. The menstrual cycle will not occur because the female body is designed to hold only one ova, only one embryo. Sometimes, of course, the human females can give birth to 2, 3, 4, it depends. Let that we will discuss little later. So, if pregnancy will not result, then if that ova will fall after the endometrium is supported, of course the progesterone will support the endometrium for up to 28 days. Till that time, if the implantation will not result, the progesterone level will start falling. The progesterone level will start falling. The corpus luteum will get degenerated, and degenerating corpus luteum will become corpus albicans, and then corpus atresia will take place. During that, when the corpus atresia will take place, the endometrium will get degenerated again. The day 1, that is menstruation will begin. Again the cycle repeats. So this is about the menstrual cycle. Hope it is clear. Just go through it.